Let me ask you something. When was the last time you were fully present at home and you weren't thinking about work? When was the last time you were locked in at work and weren't feeling guilty about being away from your family? If you're honest, it's probably been a while. Maybe you can't even remember the last time one of those statements were true, right? The tension that you're feeling right now, that low grade guilt that follows you everywhere, that sense that no matter where you are, that you should be somewhere else. Listen, it's not a time management problem. It's not a discipline problem. It's not even a work ethic problem. It's a belief problem. And today, we're going to go straight at that. Welcome to One Life, the podcast where we embrace the journey of living fully and intentionally in every area of life. My name is Matt Farnham, and while I don't have it all figured out, I'm walking this journey with you, convinced we don't have to choose between a thriving career and thriving relationships, health, and purpose. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And together we'll explore how to create work-life harmony, reject the lies of comparison, steward our gifts, and embrace the life God desires for all of us. Welcome to One Life. Welcome back to the One Life podcast. I'm your host, Matt Farnham. Want to say thank you again for listening and being a part of our One Life community. Today, I'm flying solo, no guests, just you and me. So you have to bear with me for a few minutes and let me ramble at you. And I want to share with you guys, as I've reflected on these last number of episodes that we've done together, I've talked with CEOs, pastors, coaches, top producers, missionaries turned realtors. That was an awesome conversation with Michael Leeson, and people who have built extraordinary lives. But when I step back and look at everything that has been shared on this podcast, across all those conversations, certain themes keep rising to the surface. So today I want to unpack the first one of those, and it's one that I believe might be sitting underneath everything else. And it's this idea that it's become a recurring theme of this podcast and the community as we have more and more conversations. And that's the idea of the both and life. So let's dig in. Most of us were taught to think about it this way, whether we realize it or not, that you can have a great business or a great marriage, right? You can crush it in your career or be present for your kids. You can be financially successful, or you can be, passionate in your faith or have a significant impact in the community, right? You can't have the financial success and the life of significance. And we have to pick one because you can't have both. And that's the lie. And that lie just seems to be everywhere. And I would say to you, it's subconscious too. We don't even realize that we're subscribing to this way of thinking. But I really do think that so many of us subconsciously buy into that lie, that we have to choose between a life of significance or a thriving business. It's in the culture of our industry. I work in the real estate space, as you guys know, but it's in entrepreneurship. It's in business as a whole. It's in the conversations at conferences, right? It's the unspoken scoreboard we're all comparing ourselves to. It's the way that we quietly, admire the person on stage for their production numbers without asking what their home life looks like, right? We don't get to see behind the curtain. We just see these vanity metrics that get, kind of put across our stages, right? So I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it, that if you're not intentional, this industry will prescribe a playbook for you. And that playbook has one goal, and that's a goal of more, right? More transactions, more volume, more recognition, more hustle. And listen, those can be really good things. They can create a great life for your family. They can create amazing experiences. They can create a great investment fund, retirement. I am for all those things, but at some point, you have to ask the deeper question: more of what and at what cost? At some point, you have to ask the deeper question: more of what and at what cost? I spent years living in that tension. I unpacked it for you in the first few episodes, kind of the foundational episodes of this podcast. Business over here, marriage over there, kids over here, faith over here, community over there. It just felt like all these spinning plates. I was exhausted trying to keep all of them spinning, or all the balls in the air. And the worst part is I was never fully anywhere. When I was at work, I felt guilty about not being at home. If I was at home, I felt like I was underperforming my potential at work. You've heard me talk about this before. Does this sound familiar? Have you felt this tension yourself? Well, that's the either or trap, and it will drain you if you fall into it. Recently, I had Tom Ferry, who's my real estate coach for a number of years, incredible real estate coach, been a great mentor to me and to so many. But Tom Ferry said something in our conversation I want you to hear. And go back to listen to the episode if you haven't. But he said a long time ago, he just decided to cut the word or out of his life entirely. Cut the word or out of his life entirely. So it's great marriage and ferocious work ethic, deep faith and significant wealth, right? Being a present father and being a, just serial relentless entrepreneur, right? And he didn't stumble into that. He talked about a conscious decision that he made as he was kind of tracing back this belief that you can't have both. And he just rejected it and said, no, I'm going to do it differently. So that's the shift that I want all of us to have today. Benjamin Lundquist, I go back and listen to his episode as well. Just, man, incredible, just personal development coach, life coach to so many people. Has had such a massive impact. But one of my favorite things that he has said to me is your career cannot contain your calling. Your career cannot contain your calling. Your calling is bigger. Your calling is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, right? It's the father cheering at the volleyball game, right? It's the husband who shows up intentionally for your spouse, or the wife that shows up intentionally for your husband. It's the entrepreneur who builds something that's funding a mission bigger than a commission check, right? A business with a bigger purpose. When your business and your life are moving in that same direction, when they're not competing with each other, but actually fueling each other, that's when one life really kind of clicks into place. Treasure Davis was on the show as well. Treasure's a great friend of mine. Go back and listen to that episode. But I love a statement she said alignment over achievement. And that might sound soft at its surface, but that's not soft. In fact, alignment over achievement, I would submit to you that that's a more demanding standard than an industry's scoreboard, right? Because the industry is only asking, hey, how many homes you sold, or how many sales did you make, or what's that top revenue number? The question about alignment asks you who you're becoming in the process, right? I would say a much more demanding standard that we need to raise the bar for ourselves. So here's really where I want to push you guys all a little bit. I think a lot of people hear this idea of both and they think it means balance, right? We talk about work-life balance a lot in our business world, specifically in my real estate industry, like some perfect 50-50 split where every area of life gets equal time and tension and nothing gets shortchanged or the short end of the stick. Michael Leeson said it beautifully. He said, balance is ongoing focused tension. It's not stillness, it's active. So there's nothing passive about balance. But the way I like to say it, I'd like to say that I really think balance is more of a myth. What we want and what is possible for all of us is harmony, but harmony does not happen unintentionally either, right? It's not passive, it's extremely active. So what we're talking about is alignment. When your business vision and your life vision are moving in the same direction, when your spouse is in it with you, right? Your kids understand what you're building and why, right? I always say that, hey, if dad's not home for dinner, because my kids know we're on mission as a family, they know I'm not choosing work over them. They know what we're building as a family, right? So when the mission is shared by everybody, not that's affected by it, my spouse, my kids, my community, if they're affected by the mission and they're brought into it, everything changes. Derek Caldwell said recently on the show, he said, when business stops being the end goal and becomes the engine for the mission, everything operates with more purpose. It makes perfect sense, right? The business doesn't shrink. It actually grows because now it's connected to something that actually matters, bigger than just more revenue, more sales. Garrett Maroon, good friend of mine, man, just really love and respect Garrett. He built his entire business around one question. He asked God during a dark season of his life, just in his own quiet time with the Lord, like, who do you want me to serve? And what fleshed out of that is his entire business model that he now operates from. Right. So this is both and in action. So I'm not talking about less ambition, less aspirations for you in your business. I'm talking about redirected ambition, right? Not less work, but purposeful work when you have this alignment. So the real question isn't whether you can have a great business and a great life. The question is, have you actually decided to have both, right? Both and. I want to give you a few questions as we kind of wind down this few minutes I have with you today. I don't want you to rush past these. Pull over the car if you're listening to the car if you need to, because I want you to write these down or promise yourself you'll come back to this. But I have a few questions for you that I want you to reflect on as I kind of wrap up this episode. First, where in your life right now are you living in the either or trap? Where do you feel like you're constantly choosing between two things that shouldn't be in competition? So where in your life right now are you living in the either or trap? And where do you feel like you're constantly choosing between two things that really shouldn't be in competition? Second question for you. If you're being honest, whose definition of success are you currently chasing? Is it yours? Have you defined what success looks like for you? Or is it maybe the industry's definition of success? Is it your parents' definition? Is it someone you saw on a stage, their definition? Or is it your definition of success that you're currently chasing? Third question for you. What would your life look like in 5 years if you fully embraced the both and? Not either or, but fully embraced the both and. If you stopped choosing and started building a life where everything is moving in the same direction. And one more question for you, maybe the most important one. And here it is. Write this down. Does the most important person in your life feel like a partner in what you're building or a casualty of it? Does the most important person in your life feel like a partner in what you're building or a casualty of it? And that question right there might be worth sitting in for a few minutes. So here's what I want to leave you with you guys today. One life, as we talk about it, is not a tagline. One life is not a brand. It's a conviction. It's the belief that God did not design you to be one person at work and a different person at home, right? Same person at work, same person at home. He didn't create you to thrive in business and merely survive everywhere else. I believe God wants us to crush in every area of life. I think that brings him joy. He doesn't like to see us feel guilty and shame in this tension. I think those shackles and chains are put on us by the enemy. It's put on to ourselves by ourselves, and the comparison and performance, toxicity that we live in. That's not how God designed life for us. He made you for both. He made you for all of it. And the people I've had the privilege of talking with on this podcast, many of them are living proof that this is possible. But the only way it actually works long-term is the alignment, is this different philosophy of one life. So here's your call to action coming out of today's episode. This week, I challenge you to sit down with someone who knows you really well, your spouse, a really close friend, maybe a mentor or a coach, and ask them this one question. Does the way I'm building my life and my business actually reflect what I say matters most to me? Does the way I'm building my life and my business actually reflect what I say matters the most to me? And when you get that response, don't defend, don't explain anything, just listen. And that conversation just might be the most important thing that you do all week. Dan Sullivan, great entrepreneurship coach. He's written a lot of books you guys have probably read. Gap in the Gain, Who Not How, 10X is easier than 2X. Those are his philosophies written by Benjamin Hardy. He says all progress starts with telling the truth. So ask those questions, reflective those first three for yourself, and then get with somebody that loves you, that knows you well, and ask that last question and sit in that for a moment. So just want to say, hey, thanks again for being part of our One Life community. If today's episode hit home for you in any way, please share it with somebody who needs to hear this. It might challenge them, might encourage them in the right way. Again, rate the podcast, leave a review. It means the world to me. It really does help us get the message out to entrepreneurs who are ready to stop choosing and start living. I hope this episode encouraged you today. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, and rating the podcast. It truly means the world to me. And be sure to visit theonelifepodcast.com to join our community. That's where you'll find updates on virtual meetups, special events, and more. And remember, God created you on purpose for a purpose. You don't have to choose between a life of significance and a thriving business. You were made for both. This is One Life.